WrestleZone presents Lost in the Midcard. Here are your hosts, Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where it took only a little over 9,000 days, but John Cena finally turned that heel. It is Lost in the Midcard. Welcome. We are back after about a month-long hiatus. We had some sickness. We had some power outages. We had some vacation. But we are back at literally the right time because, holy crap, some things happened on Saturday. WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, PLE. The road to WrestleMania has got into full gear, literally, no pun intended, because of a lot of things going on there. And on top of that, we got some more interesting contract news to follow that as well, as we lead you up to Monday Night Raw on Netflix at the top of the hour, which should be very interesting to see what's going to happen, who's going to lead off, what's going to happen there. But let's first get into some of the details. If you have not done so already, hit that subscribe button at WrestleZone, one word, on the YouTube, where we stream live every Monday at 7:10 Eastern, 6:10 Central. Hit that bell icon. That way you can get notified every time we go live, which is each and every week there, hopefully each and every week, depending on what's going on. But then also give us a thumbs up on our videos. Help us reach as many people as we can. Of course, we got our diehards in the chat here. Mark Cho saying he would sell his soul to LITMC. Yes, we appreciate that, Mark Cho. Also, we got a 1 inch checking on. One inch's soul belongs to Lost in the Midcard as well. An inside joke for those that don't know. Ozzy still think it's the NFL is saying go Eagles. Shelly is wondering what's going to happen next. And, of course, there's Daryl in the chat with the Go Birds. Of course, he's a big Eagles fan, very happy with what happened there. And, of course, there we go. Next Monday, we'll be starting 5 p.m. Arizona. Oh, yeah, because,
what?
Well, we got Arizona doesn't do daylight savings. So they're 2 hours behind now. But next week they'll be 1 hour behind.
Okay, cool. I did not know that.
Arizona's like the only state that does not do that. So
I've never been to Arizona, so that's news to me.
I have a few times. I went to the Rumble there in 2019, actually, when God, what happened there? Becky Lynch made a surprise entrant into the Rumble.
That's when she won, right? She came back and won. Yeah,
because Nia knocked out Lana. I'm trying to think of what happened with the men that night. That was the year before the pandemic. Seth Rollins? No, was it Seth Rollins that won it?
You're saying 2019?
Yeah, it was in Phoenix in 2019.
2020 was Drew.
Yeah, it was Seth Rollins. He eliminated Braun Strowman.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. So Ozzy, as we were talking about the time change this Sunday, yeah. So we will spring forward, which means we will lose an hour of sleep. Lovely.
Not a fan.
No,
not a fan.
There's always talk about keeping it permanent after they spring forward, which I'm all for.
I don't think it really makes a difference either way, other than the 2 nights of the year that we have to deal with this bullshit.
Well, yeah.
If you want to change it up, change it up. You know,
the main reason they do this is for the farmers to have more daylight, but I don't know why they don't just keep it just at this. I don't know, but hey, oh well, another thing for another time. But I am your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter, the Blue Sky. Anything else at JB Huskers. As always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. Is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
I'm Doing well, man. We are officially on the road to WrestleMania. We are on the road to Revolution this Sunday on pay-per-view. Good things
God, I
happening.
forgot that.
Good things happening all over the world of wrestling right now. I'm excited. We got a lot of shit to talk about, so let's get it on.
It's wild. I'll be at Dynamite 2 weeks from this Wednesday as well, live from Omaha, Nebraska. So, first time AEW is in Nebraska proper. They were at Collision in Iowa, which is, I mean, Council Bluffs, Iowa, literally across the river, across the bridge. It is literally minutes away from Omaha, but technically, first time in Nebraska. So good to see that. And it's a Dynamite. So hopefully I get Will Ospreay, because I didn't get Will Ospreay in Collision. So we'll see what happens there. We will break down the 9-match card. Probably some pre-show matches will get added after Wednesday.
I think the 6-man's a pre-show match, to be honest with
It is.
you.
It is.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
was going to say, I think that's a 0-hour match.
Let's get in to the main course of the evening. It's this thing here. Look at that guy. Who's that guy, Matt? Actually, I don't see a guy there, but maybe
He's a bad man. You can see him now.
we could definitely see him now. WWE Elimination Chamber live from Toronto, Canada. The Rogers Center took place this past Saturday, the 1st of March. And boy, newsworthy is an understatement on what happened on this night, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets that we missed 3 weeks of airtime is I've been telling everybody for about the last month, to anybody who would listen. I was like, Cena's winning this chamber and he's going heel. And everybody's like, you're out of your mind. They're not going to do that. I'm like,
I told my
yeah,
buddy.
I was like, yeah, I think they're going to do it. And as soon as the Rock came in and started doing the soul shit, I'm like, oh yeah, I see the vision. I see exactly what they're doing. 2-man Hollywood power trip incoming.
Yeah.
And I had people over at my house for the chamber, and they asked what was going to happen, and I was just like, I think it's Cena, and I think he's going to turn heel. And they all looked at me like I had 3 heads. And I'm like, look, I'm just telling you right now, 2-man Hollywood power trip, telling you hours ahead of time. And yeah, it was quite the moment.
I told my buddy, I was up in Omaha on Friday night for a birthday, and we had some scotch and cigars. Then we went to a bar, played a little couple rounds of golden tea, and I told him, I go, don't be surprised if there's gonna be a heel turn. I go, don't be surprised if it's John Cena doing it, as opposed to Cody, because Cody's going to tell him no. But I said, I go, don't be surprised if Cody turns heel there as well, because he did such a good job as a heel in Ring of Honor post WWE. But I said, there's going to be a turn and it's going to shock people. And sure enough, Jesus, boy, what a moment. We'll get into that moment in just a little bit. But first, the women's elimination chamber, where Naomi and Liv Morgan kick things off. And before the bell could ring, Jade Cargill makes her return and makes it look like she's going to punch Liv, but no, she beats the ever-living shit out of Naomi, smashing her through the Lexon pods, smashing her in the chamber door. What a wild evening. What a wild way to start the evening, with just a complete beatdown by Jade Cargill. And I am still sticking to my guns, Matt. I think Bianca did it. I think Bianca is so upset because Naomi was the one taking the bullet while she was locked in the chamber. So I still think it was Bianca that did it in the end. Matt, what are your thoughts on what went down in the beginning of the chamber?
I think Bianca will be revealed as the mastermind behind whoever did it.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know if it was Bianca doing the physical
but
attack
calling
itself.
The shots. Calling the shots.
But I think she called hit in on Jade, and she protected herself by having it take place during a match where she was in the ring, so she could act like she could, dismiss herself of all, nobody could point the fingers at me. Obviously, I was in here doing this match, And I even lost that match because she was attacked. I went to go check on her. So she tried to, create a perfect alibi for her not to be the reason. But here's the thing. You're doing Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Look, I'm sure Rhea and Io Sky tonight's going to be a great match. I'm sure it's going to be the best thing on tonight's show in terms of in-ring by a country mile. Yeah. But nobody believes that they're doing Io Sky and Bianca Belair. It's Rhea and Bianca. And at that point, when you're going to make the fans choose of who they're going to corner, they're going to corner Rhea.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Belair's ever lost at WrestleMania. And a lot of people over the year have referred to Belair as like a female John Cena or a female Roman Reigns or whatever. Like when she's in singles action, she rarely loses.
Yeah.
And she's got like the superhuman characteristics of some of the top guys in the company. So if you're going to make the fans choose and they're both baby faces, I think Rhea's going to get the cheers. So that would make sense for the Belair reveal to occur sometime on this road to WrestleMania. So the fans have a reason to boo her other than we're just choosing Rhea because that's our, prerogative type of deal.
Yeah, because otherwise there wouldn't really be any heat in that match. If it's two baby faces, there's no heat. But if you put some heat on Bianca, then you got and you really just turn her into a heel for the first time. And I think she was a heel early on in NXT.
But in NXT, she's never been a heel on the main roster.
No, she's never been a heel on the main roster. Mark Cho saying that he called Naomi. Well, we're not calling it Naomi. Maybe Naomi was the one that maybe pushed her, but of course that was obvious because she replaced Jade. So that was always the obvious choice. But yeah, I think the thing that people don't see coming is the fact that Bianca Belair either did it or, as Matt said, called the shots, which I can also see very well. MK in the chat, thank you for joining us tonight. Who opened the cage door? No, the match hadn't started yet. The cage never officially closed. So it locked up. So the door was still open when Jade made her entrance because the bell hadn't even rang.
Yeah, you would think the referee should have just shut the cage.
Right.
Instead of because that's a long entrance way. Like, oh shit, someone's coming to interfere. Maybe we should just lock the chamber and lock her out. But no, let her come in and beat somebody's ass instead.
Safet, thanks for joining, man. Good to see you. MK says, does Phoenix show up tonight? I don't know about tonight. Maybe a little too soon after the news. We'll get to the news here later on.
I mean, you can't say anything. You can't say anything's too soon with how quickly they turned around and got Ricky Saints on.
Yeah.
On NXT, so you can't say it's too soon. But
if he knew ahead of time, but but I mean, this just broke today.
WWE knew ahead of time.
Okay, then did they fly him in? Yeah.
And here's the thing. Low key on this, I kind of feel bad for Penta.
Yeah. Well,
because he's about to be relegated to WWE Tag Team Hell. And that's exactly where the Motor City Machine Guns have found themselves after the first 2 months of their run there.
Yeah.
Penta was doing really good things as a single star, and when he gets paired up with Rey, that team's gonna, unfortunately, based on WWE Tag Team projections, they're probably gonna be an afterthought in this company by SummerSlam.
Well, let's just get into a story in the middle of the main story. Rey Fenix.
That's what we do. We're bouncing around. It ain't nothing wrong with that.
Matt just sounded like Taz right there. That was kind of funny. Rey Fenix. This was from Fightful Select early afternoon, I would say. About 4 hours ago, it dropped that Rey Fenix is officially a free agent, but likely not for long. It is expected that Phoenix was going to have months added due to injury time, but he is now officially gone from AEW, eligible to sign elsewhere as soon as possible. There are no 90-day non-competes, nothing like that. He is completely free and clear right now. So yes, if he shows up tonight, that is, did Phoenix know ahead of time that today was going to be the day, or did AEW just decide that today was going to be the day? If that's the case, then I don't know if he's going to be able to be there in time. But
they did Monday. The last time was a Monday when they did the trio of Starks, Black, and Miro. It was a Monday, and then the following day Starks was on NXT. So there's no way they didn't know, because they've been teasing the numbers game against Penta on Raw for the past couple of weeks. They
Yeah.
knew something was up. And with the reports already suggesting that Fanatics has already been working on merch for Phoenix, they knew this shit was coming. The contract was done. Literally, the man could fly into Raw tonight, get to the building, sign on the dotted line, and, we're done. So, will he be there tonight? I don't know. But I'm not rolling it out. I'm not rolling out a possible appearance from Rey Fenix tonight.
Do you have to put him with Penta?
Yes.
Because Penta has been on such a roll in singles competition. I don't think you have to put him with him, or you have to tag him. Maybe you do a stable. Maybe
really, because
but look at how
the LWO and Legado del Fantasma has worked out so well.
What if one joins one and one joins the other? Does that make it more interesting?
No,
but
they're going to be together.
Penta is on such a roll right now; he doesn't need it. So I don't know.
I'm not disagreeing.
And Rey
with
Fenix
you.
is
I honestly
the same.
think AEW releasing Phoenix early fucks up Penta's momentum in WWE. I think this long term hurts Penta more than it helps him. The only saving grace for Penta is, heaven forbid, we saw it in AEW way too often. Rey Fenix is he's injury prone. He gets hurt all the time. So if Phoenix comes in and he gets hurt in like a month or two, then they can just continue on with Penta in the singles role. But if he comes in and he's healthy and he's good to go, and they're a consistent tag team for the next 6 to 12 months, I don't feel very confident about where they're going to be as a duo a year from now. Because we've already seen what's happened with the Machine Guns. They came in hot for 2 months. They put the tag titles on them, then they dropped them, and now they're in a tag team carousel storyline over on SmackDown where nothing really means anything right now.
It could lead to a ladder match probably, but
I mean, I wouldn't hate that. I mean, a lot of people are talking about a ladder match for the Intercontinental title, so they're not going to do both. I guess a tag team ladder match would make more sense, since they've really driven home the fact that 5 teams have been interacted in recent weeks. So
you have to put it on the Street Profits at Mania, I think. But they were single stars before AEW, so I don't think they have to be a tag team, in my opinion. Penta and Phoenix, in my opinion. I don't
know, man. I feel like they believe they're a package deal.
Maybe we'll have to see. All right, let's go back to the revert back to the chamber. That guy right there, you can see him now, just in case you didn't know. The women, and this was just in the chat, and I agree fully. Where'd it go? There it is. Saffet saying Liv Morgan, the MVP in the women's Elimination Chamber match. Fully agree.
I don't.
She was awesome. She was awesome in that one.
I thought Roxanne Perez.
Okay, not bad.
I thought two shows in a row she's stolen the match that she was involved in without winning.
She's ready.
I thought she was the star of the Royal Rumble, and I thought she was the star of the Elimination Chamber match as well. Man, her star is shining bright on that main roster, and her match with Bayley, WrestleMania weekend, whether it be at Stand and Deliver or whether it be on WrestleMania proper, which I hope it is, that's going to be a tough one to beat. I feel like her and Bayley feel like they have a point to prove, and I think they're going to go out there and try to outdo every other women's match that weekend.
Yeah. In the chat, MK saying 2 months till Mania. No, it's actually just a hair over 30 days. So we're just a little over a month from WrestleMania.
It's like a month. It's like a month and a half. April 19th to 20th.
Well, the pay-per-view, it was like 43 days. So I think we're at 40.
Dude, it's March 3rd.
Yeah.
The pay-per-view's April 19th and 20th.
No. I thought it said 43 days on the pay-per-view.
If they did, they can't count.
Yeah, would that surprise you?
Because that don't make any damn sense. It definitely ain't 43 days to WrestleMania.
Well, that's what I thought that said on Saturday. Maybe it's 47. I don't know. Hell, I don't know. So after all of that wild stuff, Bianca is the third entrant into the Rumble, all emotional, and was actually more worried about Naomi than anything. So Liv Morgan took advantage of that. Roxanne Perez came in, and followed by Bayley, and then Alexa Bliss. Besides, of course, Naomi being obviously the first one eliminated, Bayley was out second thanks to Oblivion, and then Roxanne Perez got eliminated by Alexa Bliss. And then Bliss got eliminated by, I think it was by, what they did do, Liv. I think it was Liv that took her out. So went down to Liv and Bianca. And I think if.
Yeah, well, they set up the potential match. It's either Judgment Day versus Wyatt Six, or it's Nikki and Alexa against Raquel and Liv and Mania. They set that storyline in motion in a chamber match. 100%.
Nikki and Alexa, huh?
Yeah, because Alexa's going back to the Wyatts, and they
cool.
have all that. They have a lot. Nikki and Alexa, crazy history together.
Yep.
So it just makes I see them leaving WrestleMania with the tag titles.
Is there any
word on title match?
Is there any word on Bo? Like how close he's
according to bodyslam.net, he's cleared. He should be back anytime now. Maybe as soon as this week.
That hair slap was something else. Yes, that was quite the noise that made it. And that thing was bleeding. That was how bad it hit there. Mark Show counting it to 47 days. I swear to God that graphic said 43, but I could be wrong. Maybe it was 53. I don't know. WWE can't count. I mean, you know, they couldn't get the number to the Silver Dome right for WrestleMania 3. So it came down to Liv and Bianca. If you basically been living under a bridge.
They gave away the finish by the final two.
Yeah,
which I wasn't thrilled about. I thought they did the right they did the right final two with the men to keep people guessing. I feel like somebody else should have finished with Belair to keep people guessing, because Liv with the tag title and Liv with her already completely overdone history with Rhea, everybody knew she wasn't winning.
The problem is,
I think someone else.
There wasn't even
anybody.
But there wasn't even anybody believable to win it other than Bianca.
Well, that's the problem. That's kind of not fair to say.
Well, that was the problem of the build. Like everybody and their dog was betting on Bianca to win it. And I mean, Alexa maybe because she just came back would be a good, or Roxanne because she was last two of the Rumble.
Yeah, you could have Roxanne last two in the Chamber, last two in the Rumble. They could have run with that story.
Unlike the men, where apparently somehow the betting favorite went to Drew McIntyre, and he was first out.
Because some people need to stop listening to a certain reporter and his lack of credibility on the stories that he reports. I'm not even going to name the guy. If you want to know who it is, I'll tell you. Remind me after the show goes off the air, and I'll tell you. But this guy gets way more wrong than he gets way more wrong than he gets. He gets way more wrong than he gets right. And the problem, the fact of the matter is this: even a broken clock is right twice a day. So of course of course sometimes he ends up right, because when you got a 50-50 chance of a way that you've reported something, sometimes sun shines on a dog's ass. The dude's not credible, but for some reason, every time this guy opens his mouth and says something, everybody takes it as gospel, and it absolutely ruined the betting odds for that week. And everybody was just, Drew's automatically winning, and I'm like, yeah, well, I still think it's Cena or Punk, it's exactly what it ended up being.
Or the Cena bettors just made more money than that because of that. That could be too.
Well,
Cena bettors.
No, Bet Online took the betting down.
Oh, that was okay.
They once the Drew thing came out, like within that day, they took the men's chamber betting odds and took it off the site. and it was just women. It was just women's chamber, KO and Sammy, and the tag match. They took it down. Like they were like so many people were deeming this guy to be credible, and so many people were going in there dropping money on McIntyre that's what ended up happening.
Oh, my Lord. We had a stare down after the match between Rhea and Bianca. Then Io came out, of course, because we got that title match tonight on Raw. Next up, Tiffany Stratton, Trish Stratus against Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I said on Twitter that night, pretty happy to see Candice LeRae getting featured in a PLE. That has not really happened too much since she's gone to WWE. Figured she was there to take a pin. Surprisingly, no, Nia took the pin, Matt. How about that?
Well, this is what needed to happen.
Yeah.
And they didn't. Here's the thing. They wouldn't have had to do this if a few weeks ago Tiffany would have pinned Nia clean in their title match on SmackDown.
Yeah. Right.
Because what I said back then is Tiffany should have beat Nia clean, and then Candice and Nia should have jumped her after the match and beat her down, and that's when you brought out Trish and you set up the tag match for the pay-per-view, and then you could have had Trish beat Candice and give Trish the moment in Toronto. But since you didn't let that title match finish on SmackDown, Tiffany had to get that clean win over Nia so she could firmly move on and focus on Charlotte going into WrestleMania. This was the finish that had to happen because they booked themselves into a corner a few weeks ago.
Don't you hate it when you get booked into a corner?
You would think they should hate it, but they keep doing it to themselves at times. So I don't know.
Do you foresee Trish involved at WrestleMania at all, or was this just a lead up to her hometown? And we're going to call it good on this run.
Yeah, I think we're calling it good on this run. I don't really see anything that she could be doing at WrestleMania at this point. I'm sure she'll be in town for the festivities, like she'll be at WWE World and stuff like that. But I don't foresee Trish competing on WrestleMania's card next month. I think we're going to see more women's matches at this year's WrestleMania than we've ever seen before. But even with that, I still don't think they have room to find a spot for Trish.
I think maybe if someone joins Charlotte, maybe Trish is in Tiffy's corner to even up the odds, so to speak. That might be a thing.
Yeah, I could see. I could see her in a managerial role if someone was in Charlotte's corner for WrestleMania. But I don't know who would want to be in Charlotte's corner for WrestleMania.
I just don't want to. We just don't need to repeat like Trish turning on Tiff and vice versa. We already did that with Zoe Starks. We don't need to repeat that, but just have her in the corner if Charlotte has someone on her side. Again, I fully expect Tiffany to win that match. She should win that match, but
look, I never roll out Charlotte Flair when it comes to WrestleMania.
I know.
But for the future of this women's division, Tiffany Stratton needs to win this match. And by giving her the endorsement from Trish Stratus, they're saying a lot of how they view Tiffany in the grand scheme of this division going forward.
Yeah.
You have to follow through on this at Mania, just like they need to follow through with Jey Uso winning that championship at WrestleMania. They need to follow through with Tiffany beating Charlotte at WrestleMania as well. To me, those are two must wins for two talents that need to solidify themselves onto the next level, and they can do that at WrestleMania.
And Trish looked good, so I mean, if she does get involved in a match, man, all for it. I mean, if this is like her 25th anniversary kind of run, I would not hate it. But as you said, Matt, where do you put her? There's not really anywhere to put her. Of course, Ozzy saying, "Will Becky be in Flair's corner?" I mean, I doubt it, but that'd be a little odd. You figure she would come back to wrestle. She's just not ready to come back yet. So, but I guess I don't know. That's good. It's very interesting with Becky, but it's all up to her.
If you told me right now, 100% Becky Lynch is wrestling at WrestleMania, what's her match? It's her and Lyra Valkyria for the Intercontinental Championship. That's the match. I don't know if that's the plan, but if someone told me right now Becky Lynch is 100% wrestling at WrestleMania, guess what match she's wrestling? That's my answer. It's her and Lyra for the Intercontinental title, which means as soon as tonight, after Lyra successfully defends against Ivy Nile,
yeah.
Whoa, we could see Becky return tonight
The Irish
and throw
lads.
her name in the hat for that
The
match at
Irish lasses.
WrestleMania.
The Irish lasses
So,
at the Irish lasses at WrestleMania has a good ring to it. Now, if Becky does not come back tonight and does not wrestle at WrestleMania, fucking put Trish in there. She looked good. She won at Chamber.
I disagree
Come
with
on,
that.
Trish and Lyra. Why not?
No, there's a storyline reason for Becky Lynch to be in that spot.
Yeah,
but beyond storyline, the Intercontinental Championship is supposed to be for the upcoming side of that division. I don't think Trish Stratus should be the one competing
no.
at WrestleMania for a championship. I don't think at this point in her career that's something that Trish should be doing. And if they do that with their insistence on pushing Lyra as a babyface, they would have to turn Trish heel again.
Yeah.
And that's not going to freaking work out. They could do
Well,
based on the history of Becky and Lyra, they could do a face versus face match between those two women out of respect, and one of them could turn afterwards. Like if Becky beats Lyra, Lyra could be upset and turn on Becky after the match.
Yeah.
And maybe that will set Lyra down a path and give her an actual character. It may be something that I could actually attach to, because right now I don't see what everybody else sees in Lyra. I really don't. But if she can get some kind of solid character arc behind her, maybe they could turn the tide. And a heel turn on Becky after losing the title to her at WrestleMania could be just what the doctor ordered.
Next up, the unsanctioned match, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. As expected, a near 30-minute classic from these guys, just beating the living dog shit out of each other, using hockey sticks, biting people's noses, you name it, it was there. So many near falls, so many times they tried to play it off like Sammy's done, let it go, Kevin. But then Sammy would just come back. But unfortunately, it was not enough, as the second power bomb onto the apron. Of course, remember when Kevin Owens made, I think it was his debut in NXT, wasn't it? When he power bombed Sammy.
Yeah, his very first night in NXT was the night Sami Zayn won the NXT Championship.
Yeah,
and he turned on him to end the show. They were walking up the ramp together.
Yeah,
Owens grabbed him and slammed him against the ring apron, and yeah, I was gonna say the rest is history. It's not like they haven't had history before then. We all know the Steen Generico rivalry in ROH is that of legend. So these two guys are just they are set to do this forever.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
This was you know, a great callback to that moment when he ends the match with those two power bombs. And yeah, that might have been the debut of the NXT Goodnight graphic swerve that they did for a while.
I think
there.
It was. I think that was the first. I think that was the first time they did it.
It was a tremendous match. No surprise there. We were kind of wondering at one point if the WWE was going to run out of referees with that match, but eventually they got control. This thing did not feel like it was almost 30 minutes. This was just a classic. They could have gone another 15, and I would have been just as attached to the match, right?
I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't see most of this match. I was split focus during the evening. I was doing live coverage of Collision. During Survivor Series, I had Survivor Series on the TV. I had Collision on my laptop, and I was, doing live coverage of the latter. So I did actually miss a good portion of Owens and Zayn. Like, I saw bits and pieces when I got a chance to, look up and glance over at the TV. But during that period of that match, I don't honestly remember what was going on Collision, but it was enough to have my focus leaning the other way. So I did not see a ton of Owens and Zayn on that show.
After the match, Kevin Owens exposes the concrete under the mat, and what we expected to be a package pile driver to basically end Sammy's career, kayfabe, when the voices come back in your head. Randy Orton returns as expected. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens heading towards WrestleMania. and got a couple of RKOs in there. Randy looking for the punt. This was great camera work because I was focused on Randy, and I don't think you could see anything in the peripherals. The timing of everybody intercepting the punt was so perfect. I didn't even expect it because I didn't see anybody moving until they all rushed in and stopped Randy. I thought that was very well orchestrated by the agents and the referees and security and whoever all was out there. That was kind of a cool moment. I think Randy's punting KO at Mania. I think part of me thinks KO should win that match and keep propelling himself to finally getting a world title. Just my opinion, but I don't know. We'll see where that shakes out when we do our WrestleMania predictions.
What do you do with Sammy and Mania now?
What do you do? I mean, does he? I mean, I never had. I always wondered with the Intercontinental. I always wondered if it was going to be Sheamus and Braun Breaker again, and Sheamus finally wins. But if it's a multi-man match, you can put him there.
I only have one suggestion, and it's not a good one. Karrion Kross.
I like what Karrion's been doing lately.
I'm just saying they've been teasing stuff with him and Sammy for weeks. Like at this point,
Kross has been on podcasts. He's been parlaying for it.
So yeah, I don't love it, but the alternative is not being on the show at all. Yeah. So,
and I'm a big fan of Kross.
He might miss the show. They might have written him off. At the Chamber. He might not even make Mania, which really sucks for the year that he's had and how his WrestleMania last year went with putting that loss on Gunther's record. I think it would be a crime for Sammy not to have a WrestleMania match. But at this point, you look at the landscape. Karrion Kross, to me right now, Karrion Kross is the only thing that makes sense right now.
Yeah, and I like what he's doing with the locker room stuff. I think that's been fun, and Daryl is agreeing with me there. Yeah, I like that. Steven Chambers in the chat. Overton trying to shake hands with security. You knew he was dropping with an R. That's the old Austin technique right there, man. Main event, men's chamber. Drew McIntyre, Seth freaking Rollins, Damian Priest, Logan Paul, CM Punk, John Cena. As Matt said, this went down to the final two, and it was the right final two. Do you foresee Logan Paul in this match with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, and or do you think Roman? I mean, we haven't seen Roman. We don't have a direction for him in Mania. We thought maybe it was going to be Roman, Punk, and Rollins based on what happened at the Rumble. Obviously, Logan Paul has been doing some things. Makes you think maybe Paul and CM Punk, but CM Punk still has that favor. So I thought maybe if Cena wins, he'd shoehorn himself into that triple threat. But after Cena did what he did, I think that's out the window. So I think, I don't know what Roman's doing, but I'm wondering if it's going to be a Logan Paul, CM Punk, and Rollins triple threat now at Mania. What do you feel in that kind of aspect? Because it also sounds like Fatu and Solo is not on the cards right now for Mania either. But
I still don't believe that for a second.
I think that came from Alvarez. So
it came from the Observer.
Yeah.
Meltzer's been saying for weeks that's not the plan. Well, here's the deal, Meltzer. If that's not the plan, then what is? And the fact that you won't say what the plan is says you don't know what the plan is.
It should be the plan.
Stop saying it's not the plan if you don't know what the plan is.
It should be the plan. People want it. I hate you, Solo. I hope so.
The Logan Paul thing's very interesting. Because you could see him paired with Rollins or Punk. But the rumor has been both of them are attached to that triple threat with Roman for Mania. So if that triple threat goes as scheduled, then what do you do with Logan Paul?
We'll probably get clarity on Friday. Or is Roman on Mondays now? We might get clarity tonight.
I don't even know Roman's on a brand.
Yeah, he doesn't need a brand.
To be honest,
he doesn't need a brand. And then of course, the shock heard around the world. I could see it from the far away hard cam when I could see Cena looking at Rock, and I knew instantly what was going to happen. But man, how well done was this, and what a moment! I thought this was a great way to kick off the WrestleMania main event, don't you?
it was a fun close to the show. Like I said, I saw it coming. I still enjoyed it. Did not see Cody Rhodes dropping an F-bomb coming. Did not see that.
Go fuck yourself.
I honestly thought that was more surprising than the Cena heel turn. Was Cody dropping the F-bomb and WWE not muting it?
And then Michael Cole dropping an S-bomb. Called him a piece of shit on the mic. So two guys you didn't expect to cuss on the microphone. But I mean, we've watched Being the Elite for many years. We know Cody does have a potty mouth. And Michael Cole does have a potty mouth too, if you ever watch him on McAfee. So it's not a surprise that either one cussed. But yeah, that was great. An F-bomb on a PLE. I'm all for it. But God, it was just epic. I mean, it just got everybody talking, and memes were flying everywhere.
There's been an overload of memes in the last 48
if we have
hours.
If we have a lack of things to talk about next week, we may play some of the great memes of that. But boy,
I can't imagine we're gonna have a lack of things to talk about between now and
yeah, because we got Revolution. Speaking of which, let's well, first, what final thoughts on the whole turn and Rock and Cena together, corporate 2-man power trip. What are your final thoughts on that?
I think it's fun. My main concern, I hope Cody doesn't have to sell this storyline by himself for the next month and a half. Because they made it clear at the chamber. Rock said on the press conference that Cena was taking a flight back to Africa that night to continue filming whatever movie he was filming. So I don't foresee Cena being on TV this week, because if he still needs to finish filming a movie, I don't think he's going to be on television this week to explain his actions. Who knows when we're going to see The Rock again? I really hope this next month and a half is not Cody by himself having to solo sell the Night 2 WrestleMania main event by himself. So I really hope Rock and Cena are on television more often than not over the next several weeks, because to me, if you're Night 2 main eventing this match, and I have every reason to believe that it is, that's a 2-man job. And like, if Cena's not there, The Rock can cover for him and vice versa. But one or the other should be there every time Cody's on TV, so he has someone to play off of for the next several weeks.
Cena did a mic drop at the press conference, so maybe Rock's doing all the talking. So if that explains maybe if Cena's got to be gone.
Well, we got to hear from Cena eventually.
Eventually, yes. And then of course this Sunday on pay-per-view, AEW Revolution taking place from LA at the crypto.com arena. Let's run through the card real quick. A fun 6-man opener. This is going to be a lot of fun, I think. Big Boom AJ and the conglomeration taking on Johnny TV and MXN. I think it's pretty simple there. Good guys win, right, Matt?
Unless Gabe Kidd gets involved.
Okay.
Because they had. Did you see the clip on AW social media after Collision?
I did not.
They were trying to interview Briscoe backstage after the show about the match, and Gabe Kidd comes ranting at the cameras that they flew him out there and they didn't give him any TV time, so he was going to take his TV time, and got in Briscoe's face, and the two started brawling. And Rocky Romero tried to break it up and tell Kidd to be respectful, and Kidd laid out Romero. So it seems like a Kidd and Briscoe match is going to be happening sooner rather than later. So while it seems like a no-brainer that those guys and AJ should be winning that match, if Kidd gets involved, all bets are off.
Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage match. Who you got, Matt?
Oh, this is Ospreay all day.
Yep.
I don't foresee Ospreay losing a singles match in AEW anytime soon.
No, I think he's going to be AEW champion at some point. Maybe take it off Christian. If Christian takes it off of whoever, we'll see. I think Ospreay is going to be champion this year at some point. He's just too hot to not put it on him. Hangman, Adam Page, MJF. I got to go Hangman. Hangman is basically the MVP of AEW right now, and I think they need to capitalize on that and have him beat MJF.
I agree. I definitely don't think MJF needs this victory, and I think at some point this year that AEW World Championship will be back around Hangman's waist.
Yeah.
So I think a victory right now for Hangman is just exactly what he needs right now.
Swerve versus Ricochet. Winner becomes the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. This one I've got a very interesting take in. I think the fact of Nana getting back his robe is going to end up somehow costing Swerve. I think Ricochet is going to win and be the number one contender.
No chance in hell. They ain't having Ricochet headline Dynasty. Dynasty's the same pay-per-view where Swerve Strickland won the AEW World Championship last year, and he's going to be in the title picture again this year. They are going to start. Okay. They are going to start the synergy of when you think AEW Dynasty, you're going to think of Swerve Strickland, and I think that's part of the plan. I think the main event of Dynasty, if I had a gun to my head right now and I had to be right, Swerve Strickland challenging Christian Cage for the AEW World Championship.
Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. Mercedes Moné against Momo Watanabe for the AEW TBS Championship. I don't see Mercedes losing this.
No, but the great thing about this match is it's setting up the eventual arrival of Athena in AEW, and I think we are going to get Mercedes and Athena at All In Texas. And I'm very, very excited about that.
Your biggest layup of the evening, the Hurt Syndicate against the Outrunners.
It damn well better be a layup. I was looking forward to the Hurt Syndicate and the Murder Machines. I'm not looking forward to this match. This is the match I'm least looking forward to, and it has nothing to do with the Hurt Syndicate. Hurt Syndicate better flatten these guys.
Yeah, this got to be under 3. Timeless Tony Storm has to retain against Mariah May because this is the finale of it all. And this might main event of Revolution, maybe. I don't know.
Meltzer's reporting Copeland and Mox to the main event. So
okay, then I know who's going to win. Well, first, before we get there, Konosuke Takeshita, Kenny Omega for the international title. I think I told you this. I don't know if I said this on the show because it's been a while, but I completely foresee the international and the continental titles being merged. That means Kenny Omega is going to beat Takeshita and then face Okada.
I don't know if they're going to merge them. Omega's absolutely winning that title on Sunday. No doubt in my mind.
Well, I had the main event, Jon Moxley against Cope. I had Cope winning, which I thought maybe Cope and Ricochet might be a title match at some point, which that's why I picked Ricochet. Plus, I think Ricochet is an interesting choice right now because he's doing great work as a heel. So all along, I thought Cope was going to win the match here because he's basically dismantled the Death Riders one by one up until now. So you think Cope has like a 15-second reign and Christian Cage cashes in at this night?
Unfortunately, I do believe that's what's going to happen. I don't believe his reign will be long.
Okay.
Which I find to be disappointed. I would like to see what he could do with that title.
Does he cash in that night?
I do. I think they go off the air with Cage holding that title.
Because you could see Moxley beating the shit out of him after winning.
Well, I thought Moxley was going to retain until he beat Copeland clean at Grand Slam.
Yeah.
And when he beat Copeland clean at Grand Slam, and I'm like, all right, Copeland's not going out like that twice. So Copeland's winning that title.
It's time for Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Thank you for tuning in to Lost in the Midcard. We'll be back at you next week with our thoughts on AEW Revolution. Enjoy wrestling. Enjoy Raw. For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thank you for tuning in to Lost in the Midcard. And